Hello and welcome to another video in my Web API.NET Basics series. So as always, go ahead and follow me on GitHub, website, and email if you have any questions and stuff like that. Right then. So in the previous video, we went ahead and saw how we can use our web app, the Razor MVC web app, and we are able to consume the NASA API directly and show the image and other information. So far, so good. Now, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same project, right? And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and use my API, which in turn consumes the NASA API, which is a very common scenario with API integration. So once again, let's go back to the home controller. And here we can pretty much reuse the entire code as it is. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and copy the entire thing here, the whole stuff, okay? And I'm just gonna put that as another view, just bulk copy paste. The only thing I have to do is I'm gonna change the title. So I'm gonna say show NASA APOD via web API. So I have a new view. So I'm going to go here and once again, I'm going to say add view, Razor view empty. Now what I need is I need to just put the same title just like last time. The title must match. Where is that? Let me just type it here. So wait a second, you know what? I don't want to type it. I don't think that's a good idea. So let me just copy this. Okay, add view, Razor empty, good. And I want to say, there we go. Now this code is going to be exactly the same as the last one. So once again, I'm going to copy the whole thing, come back here, and I'm going to put this here. So far, so good. The only change I have to do is previously the NASA APOD URL was this direct consumption, but this time I want to use my own API server. Now, where is my API server from the previous video? So I'll go back here. This is the one. I'm going to build, rebuild, and I'm going to run this. Now remember, the NASA API server is obviously being run and maintained by NASA, so it's available around the clock all the time. But in this video, I'm trying to consume one of my own APIs. Right now, it is not deployed anywhere. So I have to run it locally before testing it. So I'm going to go here and I want to make sure that it is running. It is running. Now, what I need is the endpoint from my web API. So right now it is running locally. So I have a local URL. So I'm going to carefully copy this. Oh, it's here. You can just take it from here as well. I'll go back to my web app project and I'm going to chain the original NASA URI with my own URI. Once again, please remember you have to run the local web API server in order for this to work. So let's go ahead and once again put a breakpoint here, and I gotta update the navigation as well. So I'm going to copy paste this link here. Okay, good. And let's update the home controller path. From there to the layout, looks good. Okay, now let's go ahead and rebuild, and let me make sure I have the breakpoint set. Yes, I have set it. So now let's run this. Now I'll show you something very interesting. Well, interesting to me, maybe not to you. If I go to my controller, let me turn on the breakpoint here as well. So what happens is, so now we will have two projects running simultaneously. This is a very common scenario. So I have my web app project running. You can see the orange bar at the bottom. I also have my web API project also running. So you have two projects running side by side. So what is happening is, let me just put a drawing here. So I have my web app, okay, talking with the web API. So these two are now talking to each other, and this web API is in turn talking to the NASA API. So that's what the sequence is. So that's what we are doing. So because these two things are running locally, so this is one running on Visual Studio and this is also running on Visual Studio. Now this is online, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's why I have two projects running. So let's go back to it. So I'm going to come back here and I have this one, and I have put breakpoints on both the projects. So both of them will be triggered now. So I click on this. So right now we are now in the web app. So that's good. I'm going to, click on continue. Look at that. So now from that one project, with the breakpoint as triggered on the second project. Again, very, very nice. But here we have to use the NASA API URL because we are now integrated that. So let's go ahead and click on continue. We are still in the web API project. I got the response. Now from here, the information will be passed on to the web app. So let's see if that happens. There it is. Now if I look at the response, look at that. All the data is coming. And now if I click on continue, and it works. Exactly as we expect. You can see in the top, this is from the web API, which I built a few minutes ago. And this one is from the web API directly from NASA. So let's try that. So I'm going to click on this. Now you'll notice this one is directly talking. So the breakpoint is going to be from the Razor MVC web app. For some reason, it's still stuck on loading. So we'll wait for that. It worked. I go here. This one is for this. Let me disable the breakpoints. Okay. Again, here also, let me disable the breakpoint. Continue. Right. So this is coming from web API. This is coming directly from NASA. This is coming from the web API. Just to be sure, I could do something. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my web API project and I'll make a small change. So here what I'll do is in the response, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to just update my response just a little bit. I'm going to change the title. So I'm going to say response dot title is equal to web API, just a simple indicator plus response dot title. Okay, just so that I know which one is which. So let's try it out again. So let me go ahead and rebuild, run this. Okay, so let's get back to the web app. Right, and this is the original from NASA. You see the title, it doesn't change. But if I go to mine, it says web API. Right, so look at this. This is the original. Title just comes as it is. But with my integration, you can change it. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. We can change, the output is under our control. And that is the best part, right? So you can custom it, you can customize it, you can do whatever you want with it. Okay, so there you go. That was what I wanted to show you. So we are able to go ahead and once again talk to the NASA APOD. The web app is able to show the information, but this time via the web API that we built, and it's consuming the REST API, but this time it's consuming an API that I built and then using the same HTTP library. So that is all there is to it. So those are the 4 videos. I look at my diary here. Based on NASA APOD, I want to give you a taste of programming, like what you can do with programming skills. So there are 4 things I wanted to do. I wanted to build a console app. We did that. And then consuming the API, into an API, we did that as well. And then consuming directly via web app, we did that also. And finally, we made the web app talk to the API that we built in step number 2. So far that is looking good. And that's all there is to it about the NASA APOD. Now, hopefully you will also try this out when you're learning before going to the next video, because this video series, each next video kind of builds on top of the previous video. So if you are skipping directly, then you might be finding it difficult to follow along. As always, the code is already there. The working diary is already shared with you. So go ahead, check it out. And of course, if you have any questions, it's not that hard to reach out to me.